All right, so diving in today with this concept I've been hearing so much about lately, the let them theory. I'm really drawn to Mel Robbins's practical advice for handling all of life's crazy stuff. And she really got into this whole idea of let them on Shetty's podcast recently. So
that's cool.
I thought this would be a good deep dive for us, to simplify and maybe unlock some serious peace of mind.
Yeah, I think what I find so interesting about this whole theory is how it really gets at our need to control things. Like Mel Robbins points out, it's hardwired in us,
Yeah.
It's a total primal survival thing.
Yeah.
But this let them idea is about rewiring that.
Okay.
Accepting that we just can't control what other people are thinking or feeling or doing.
It's funny, when I first heard that phrase, let them, I thought it sounded kind of passive, like letting people walk all over you.
Oh, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
How it might sound that way.
Yeah.
But it's really the opposite of that. It's about being strategic with your energy. Instead of getting all tangled up in stuff outside your control.
Yeah.
You focus on the things you can influence.
Okay.
Your own reactions.
Yeah.
Your choices.
So it's more about empowerment then.
Yeah. Way more than just being passive.
So it's let them do their thing, but let me choose how I respond to it.
Yeah.
Is that where this whole let me concept comes in?
Totally. Let them is all about acceptance.
Okay.
Let me is about grabbing the reins of your own inner world.
Right.
It's this constant reminder that we have control over our thoughts, our actions,
Yeah.
and how we process our emotions.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So instead of feeling like a victim of your circumstances,
Right.
it's about, becoming the architect of your own experience.
Absolutely.
It's about reclaiming your power.
Yeah. And what's so cool is how widely you can apply this simple idea.
Okay.
Take work stress, for example.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in a coworker's drama.
Oh, tell me about it.
Or, let a micromanaging boss just totally drain you.
Ugh. Some days I swear I spend more time worrying about what my coworker is going to say in the meeting
Oh, yeah.
than actually prepping for my own presentation.
Right. But the let them theory reminds us to focus on our own lane.
Okay.
So instead of letting those outside factors dictate our mood,
Yeah.
we choose to stay focused on our tasks. We keep a positive attitude.
Right.
And refuse to get sucked into all the negativity.
It's like that analogy that Mel Robbins uses about paying $1 for every thought you waste on someone else's drama.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be broke.
Totally. Think about how much energy we could get back if we just stopped giving our power away.
It really makes you wonder, where are we all leaking energy?
Yeah.
Unnecessarily.
Right.
I know I'm definitely guilty of that, especially in my relationships.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's another area where things can get messy, right?
Relationships are the perfect example of
Yeah.
where let them can be so tough,
Yeah.
but also incredibly freeing.
Let's be honest. We all have that one person. Maybe it's a partner or a family member or even a close friend
Right.
who has those little quirks that just drive us nuts.
Totally. Like leaving dishes in the sink.
Uh-huh. Or constantly running late.
Yeah. And it's so easy to fall into that trap of trying to change them,
Oh, yeah.
to nag them into being someone they're not.
Right.
But the let them theory is there to remind us
Yeah.
we just can't control other people.
Right.
What we can control is how we communicate our needs and how we choose to respond to their actions.
So it's about setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Let them be messy, but let me speak up about how it makes me feel.
Boundaries are huge, but Mel Robbins takes it a step further.
Okay.
She emphasizes how important it is to communicate the impact of someone's actions,
Okay.
not just the complaint itself.
So instead of just saying, clean up your stuff,
Yeah,
you would say something like, when you leave your things everywhere, it makes me feel like I'm the maid.
exactly.
Huh.
It helps the other person understand how their actions affect you.
Right.
Emotionally, it's about connecting on a deeper level, way more likely to actually inspire change.
Yeah. The nagging or complaining.
For sure.
And that's a huge difference because it's not about blame.
Right.
It's about creating understanding.
Exactly. It's about cultivating respect,
Right.
where everyone feels heard and valued.
Yeah, I'm really starting to see how powerful this let them concept can be.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you know what? This idea is also super relevant when it comes to social media.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely guilty of this myself. It's so easy to get caught up in the number of likes or comments on a post,
Totally.
to feel like your worth is somehow tied to those external validations.
Right. And when we get hooked on those external metrics,
Yeah.
we're basically handing over our power to the internet. We're We're letting these algorithms dictate how we feel about ourselves.
It's like we're letting them, in this case, be like the faceless masses of social media.
Exactly. But let them reminds us we can't control how other people perceive us online, just like we can't control it offline.
Yeah. We can, however, control what we choose to share, how we choose to engage, and how we choose to manage our own emotional response.
You got it.
So it's like saying, let them have their opinions.
Yes.
Let them scroll past.
Exactly.
Let them unfollow if they want to. My worth isn't tied to their approval.
It's about taking back your narrative, both online and offline.
Okay.
Shifting your focus from seeking external validation to cultivating inner peace and self-acceptance.
This is really resonating with me. I'm seeing how let them can apply to so many different areas of life, from work stress to relationships to our online presence.
For sure.
And speaking of relationships, I'm curious to hear more about how this concept applies to friendships.
Yeah.
Especially as adults. I mean, those dynamics can be so complex.
You're right. Adult friendships are a whole different ballgame than those effortless connections we formed as kids.
Totally.
Mel Robbins actually talks about this and points out 3 key ingredients that were always present in childhood friendships. Proximity, shared timing in life, and compatible energy.
That makes so much sense. I mean, we were practically forced into friendships as kids.
Totally.
We went to the same schools, lived in the same neighborhoods. We were all going through those same awkward stages of development.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as adults, those things become more scattered.
Right.
Proximity changes as people move for work or family. Life stages become less synchronized if people get married, have kids, or pursue different careers. And energy levels shift as we age, develop different interests, or go through major life transitions.
So adult friendships require more intentionality.
Yes.
It's not just about who you happen to be sitting next to in class anymore.
Right.
It's about actively seeking out and nurturing those connections that truly resonate with you.
Exactly. So let them drift if the connection isn't working.
Okay.
But let me be proactive about cultivating friendships that do align.
This is where that let me part becomes so crucial.
Absolutely.
It's about taking ownership of your social life and recognizing that you have the power to choose the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
It's about prioritizing those friendships that bring you joy, support, and a sense of belonging.
And it's important to remember that saying let them doesn't mean being a doormat.
Okay.
You can let them be who they are while also setting boundaries and choosing your battles wisely.
So it's about recognizing when to walk away from a situation that's no longer serving you.
Yes.
Whether it's a draining job, a toxic relationship, or a friendship that's run its course.
Exactly. It's about recognizing when your energy is better spent elsewhere.
Okay.
And sometimes the ultimate test of let them comes in the form of breakups. It's about having the courage to let go of what's no longer working.
Yeah.
Even if it's painful in the short term.
I imagine that's easier said than done.
It can be incredibly challenging, but it's also incredibly freeing. The 30-day detox is about breaking those neural pathways, creating a clean break from the past, and allowing yourself to truly grieve and heal.
I'm really starting to grasp the power of this let them concept.
Yeah.
It's about choosing how we want to show up in the world, regardless of what's happening around us.
And it's about understanding that true power comes from within. It's about reclaiming our energy, setting healthy boundaries, and focusing on what truly matters.
This has been so insightful.
Good.
I'm feeling inspired to start applying this concept to my own life.
Yeah.
To start choosing my battles more wisely and to start reclaiming my energy.
I love it.
But before we move on, I'm curious to hear more about how this applies to family dynamics.
Okay.
I mean, those relationships can be some of the most challenging to navigate, right?
Absolutely. Family dynamics can be incredibly complex.
Yeah.
And the let them theory can be incredibly helpful in navigating those relationships with more grace and compassion.
Okay.
Should we delve into that next?
Let's do it. Yeah. Family dynamics, that's where let them gets real, I think.
It really is.
Because, you know, those relationships have so much history, so much emotion tied into them.
It's true. Those bonds, they run deep.
Yeah.
And the expectations we have of family members can be really loaded.
I'm already thinking about holiday gatherings.
That's a
you know, and the one relative who always seems to like stir the pot.
Right.
You spend the whole time trying to avoid triggering the next like drama explosion.
It's like that spiderweb analogy Mel Robbins talks about.
Yeah.
Oh, Imagine, the family dynamic is this delicate web.
Okay.
And that challenging person, their energy is a constant tapping, shaking the whole thing, disrupting the peace.
I can picture that. And it's not even just holidays.
No.
Right? It can be like any family event.
Right.
Or even just a phone call.
Yeah.
That sends everyone into tiptoe mode.
Exactly. But this is where let them can be so powerful, especially with family. It's about consciously choosing not to get caught in their web.
So you acknowledge their behavior, their patterns, but you don't let it dictate your emotional state.
Right. You make a different choice.
So let them have their experience.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not going to let it define mine.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating is that Robbins suggests that by mastering this with these challenging people, you actually become like the most grounded, the most powerful person in the family.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
How does that happen? It seems like the opposite of what you would expect.
Think about it. You're not giving your power away to their drama. You're holding your center. You're choosing peace.
Yeah.
And that radiates outwards.
Okay.
It sets a different tone, a calmer vibration.
It's almost like you're demonstrating a different way of being.
Totally.
A way that's not reactive or fueled by the drama.
Right. And the more you practice this, the more you actually shift the dynamic.
Okay.
Not by controlling anyone,
Yeah.
but by embodying a different energy.
So instead of regressing into like a stressed out teenager around that difficult parent or sibling, you're the one who stays calm and centered and adult.
Exactly. You become the anchor, the steady presence. And from that place, you have more influence. Not through force or manipulation, but just through the power of your own example.
I love that. Leading by example rather than trying to control everyone.
Yeah.
But what about when you actually need to address an issue with a family member? Does let them still apply then?
Absolutely. Remember, you can't change anyone.
Right.
People only change if they want to.
Okay.
If they feel capable.
Yeah.
So with family, it's about let them be who they are, but let me communicate my needs effectively.
I'm remembering that part where Mel Robbins talked about focusing on the impact, not just the complaint. Like instead of saying, you're always late, you would say, when you're consistently late, it makes me feel like my time isn't valued.
It helps the other person understand how their actions affect you emotionally. It's about connecting on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Much more likely to inspire change than nagging or complaining.
And that's a huge difference.
It is.
Because it's not about placing blame.
Right.
It's about fostering like a deeper understanding within the family dynamic.
Exactly. It's about cultivating respect where everyone feels heard and valued. And sometimes with family, let them also means recognizing when to let go of an issue entirely.
Oh, especially with those things that have been a source of conflict for years.
Yes. It's about choosing your battles wisely.
Right.
Is this something you can live with? Or is it something you really need to address?
Okay.
If it's the former, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is just let it be.
So it's like saying, I love you and I accept you, even if I don't agree with this particular behavior.
Exactly. And sometimes that acceptance, that willingness to let go of the need to control or change someone is the most powerful catalyst for transformation.
That's a great point. It makes me think about how we can get caught up comparing ourselves to siblings.
Oh, yeah.
Cousins, even parents.
It's so common.
Yeah, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, but within your own family.
Totally. But let them encourages us to reframe that.
Well,
Instead of seeing someone else's success as a threat, we can see it as a possibility, a reminder of what's achievable.
So when your brother gets that big promotion, instead of feeling envious, you celebrate his win.
Yeah.
You let his journey inspire your own.
Exactly. That shift in perspective can be so freeing. You step out of the comparison trap and into genuine support.
Right.
Recognizing that everyone's path is unique.
Yeah.
And there's abundance for everyone.
So even within families, it's about shifting from that scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Absolutely. And that shift can have a huge impact on the whole family dynamic.
Okay.
It fosters collaboration and support.
Right.
Where everyone feels empowered to go after their dreams.
That's beautiful. Creating a family culture where everyone feels seen, heard, and celebrated.
And that's the beauty of Let Them. It's not just about setting boundaries or detaching from drama. It's about creating a more harmonious and fulfilling experience for everyone.
We've talked a lot about applying let them to other people, to those external things we tried to control. But I'm wondering, can we apply this to ourselves? Can we let ourselves be?
Now, that's a profound question.
Yeah.
One we should definitely dive into.
Okay.
Because, we often become them in this equation.
Right.
We judge ourselves harshly.
Yeah.
We set impossible standards. We resist being perfectly human.
Yeah. It's almost like we become our own worst critic. You know, we try to control those parts of ourselves that we think are unacceptable or imperfect or messy.
You hit the nail on the head. And that internal struggle can be even more draining than any external conflict.
Yeah.
So think about the energy we waste trying to silence that inner critic.
Right.
Trying to force ourselves into some perfect mold.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And honestly, it never really works.
You're so right. It's a temporary fix at best.
Yeah.
Those parts of ourselves, those shadows, they don't just disappear because we ignore them or try to push them down.
So how do we apply let them to like our inner world? How do we let ourselves be?
It starts the same way as with external conflicts. Awareness. Noticing when that inner critic chimes in.
Right.
When self-doubt whispers those limiting beliefs.
So it's like catching yourself in the act of self-sabotage.
Exactly. And instead of fighting those thoughts, instead of trying to suppress those feelings, we practice saying, let them.
Let them criticize.
Yes.
Let them doubt. Let them fear. It feels so counterintuitive.
I know. It's a total mind shift. But the key is recognizing those thoughts and feelings are just that.
Okay.
Thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
They're not facts.
Yeah.
They don't represent like the whole truth of who we are.
So it's about creating space between ourselves and those internal narratives.
Exactly. That space, that detachment allows us to observe those thoughts and feelings without being swept away by them.
So like taking a step back and saying, oh, there's that inner critic again. Hello, old friend. I see you, but I'm not letting you run the show.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that we have a choice in how we respond to those inner experiences.
Okay.
We can fuse with them. We can believe them. We can let them dictate our actions.
Right.
Or we can observe them with curiosity.
Yeah.
With compassion, even with a little humor.
Let them be there, but don't let them define you.
Beautifully put. And once we've got that space, we can tap into the let me side of things.
The part where we empower ourselves.
Yes.
Where we choose how we show up despite the inner struggles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We recognize that our worthiness isn't tied to being perfect. Instead, it's about embracing those imperfections, those quirks, as part of what makes us unique.
So it's like saying, let me be perfectly imperfect.
I love that. It's realizing that true self-love isn't about erasing flaws. It's about radical self-acceptance.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly with all our complexities.
And honestly, those imperfections are often the source of our greatest strengths.
So true.
Our creativity, our resilience.
Yeah.
They come from those messy parts of ourselves too.
Absolutely. And when we operate from that place of self-acceptance, we free up so much energy that was being used to control or change ourselves.
It's like giving ourselves permission just to breathe, to exist without judgment.
That's the freedom, the inner peace that's truly liberating.
Yeah.
And then we can show up authentically, vulnerably, joyfully.
I'm seeing how let them applied internally becomes like self-compassion.
Yes.
Building a more loving relationship with ourselves.
You got it.
Yeah.
And that self-compassion ripples outward. It affects our relationships, our work, every aspect of our lives.
It's that ripple effect we talked about with families. But it starts within each of us with our own willingness to let ourselves be.
Beautifully said. But remember, this is a practice.
Okay.
Some days that inner critic will be louder.
Yeah.
Those self-doubts will feel overwhelming.
Right.
But each time we choose to observe those experiences with compassion. Each time we say let them instead of fighting, we strengthen that self-acceptance muscle.
So we're essentially creating a new internal landscape, one that's more spacious, more forgiving, more aligned with who we really are.
And that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
When we let ourselves be, we open up to possibilities. Our creativity flows. We embrace vulnerability.
Yeah.
We step into our power.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's not just about managing external stressors.
Right.
It's about cultivating deep inner peace and self-love.
That's the true gift of let them be. A path to freedom, authenticity, living a life true to ourselves.
Letting go of what we can't control, both inside and out.
Yes.
And focusing on what we can, our responses, our growth, our unique journey.
Beautifully said. And remember, you have everything you need to navigate this journey with grace, resilience, and self-compassion.
I'm walking away feeling empowered, with a deeper understanding of myself and a toolkit of strategies to create a more peaceful and fulfilling life.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Remember, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
The more you explore Let Them, the deeper its impact will be.
Okay.
So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep letting go of what no longer serves you.
To everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Let Them theory.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you found it valuable and feel inspired to apply it to your own lives.
We hope so.
Remember, you have the power to create more peace, joy, and fulfillment starting right now.
You do.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep letting go.